filing into Great American Ballpark, getting set for a little day baseball here in Cincinnati. The Phils winding down this 3-game series, looking for a little offense and looking for a victory today against the Reds, who have won the first 2 ball games. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, along with Matt Stairs, who's getting set to go to the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame after this ball game is over with. Well, last night we saw another Canadian put on a pretty big display offensively in Joey Votto, a 3-home run night for the Reds first baseman.
Well, it's definitely easy to say he was seeing the ball very well last night. He was locked in. It's a great area to be when everything slows down and you hit home runs. What I was very impressed with last night was he hits a home run to right center versus Varang. You know, people call it straightaway center. Doesn't matter, still a bomb. Next step back is a fastball down in the zone, crushes it to left center. Now, if you see all the balls he hits are down in the zone, left-handers love the fastball down, especially down and in. His last home run against McGowan to right field. So home run to right center, home run to left center, home run straightaway right. Shows me that has very good power all over the field.
Well, you see the comparisons now. He is, along with Johnny Bench, the only Reds to have three home run games. Anytime you're in the same category as Johnny Bench, you have to feel good.
Well, you have to feel very good, and it's more impressive, I think, with Johnny Bench because he's a right-handed hitter. He sees more right-handed pitchers. You know, Joey Votto did it against all right-handed pitchers, and not taking nothing away from the Canadian Joey Votto. But when a right-hander is seeing sliders after slider from right-handed pitchers, and they put up those type of numbers, I think it's more impressive.
All right, well, today the Phillies will contend with a brand-new pitcher. John Moscott will make the start for the Cincinnati Reds. He's made one major league start. He had a heck of a run in AAA this year. He was 7-1 before the Reds called him up.
Well, the biggest thing for John is he has to go out there and relax. The last game, he was so nervous. He was amped up. Everything he threw was all over the place. And after the first inning, he kind of settled in. He's got a very good sinker, and he's got a very good slider. They say his out pitch is a slider away to right-handers down into left-handers, which we saw last night the Phillies love to swing at. But once he calmed himself down after the first inning, he was throwing very well. His ball is moving very well. He's a good 2-seamer. He could top it at 94 miles an hour with his 4-seamer. So he needs to get a nice, easy first inning to relax a little bit.
37 pitches in the first inning in his last outing, and that was them telling him that his afternoon was done. So now it is start number 2 in his major league career. The finale of this 3-game series, it's red hot here in Cincinnati. It'll be Jerome Williams making his 13th start. Moscott will be making his second big league start. Lineups at first pitch when we return. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Citizens Bank. One deposit checking. Keeping things simple is helping you bank better. By Toyota. Where will Toyota take you? Visit buyatoyota.com to find out. Toyota, let's go places. By Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. And by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Learn more at ibx.com. The Phillies bullpen is, so he'll go to the dugout, keep himself loose, try to cool off a little bit on a hot, sunshiny afternoon. Let's take a look at the Phillies lineup, brought to you by Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. It'll be Revere, Herrera, and Utley. Maikel Franco moves up to the cleanup spot. Ryan Howard, the first baseman, bats fifth. Jeff Francoeur will hit sixth, followed by Cesar Hernandez and Cameron Rupp, who's doing the catching this afternoon. And, of course, Jerome Williams on the mound for the Phillies. And they will face 23-year-old right-hander John Muscott. 0-1 so far in the big leagues. He pitched in 5 innings in his major league debut. Matty had a heck of a run down in AAA. He was 7-1 with an ERA that was just a hair over 3.
Well, he's got everything that's above average: fastball, slider, change. The key for him is the first inning today to go out and relax a little bit. You can see the scouting report. 4-pitch pitcher, has a very good sinker, but his best pitch is a slider down and into a lefty and down and away to a right-hander.
The Reds took him out of Pepperdine University back in 2012. And he is just finishing up his warm-up tosses.
Well, time for our Nissan keys to the game. And key number 1 for me is Williams has to pitch inside for strikes and balls. And what I mean by that is you got to be effective knocking guys off the plate, because we've seen these guys love to hit the fastball out of the ballpark. And Franco, don't change a thing because you're in the 4-hole.
Yeah, Ron Sandberg today decided to mix up the middle of the order. Utley remains 3, left-hander. Franco, though, bats cleanup as a right-hander, and then Ryan Howard will bat 5th as a lefty. In fact, they'll go left, right, and then the switch hitting Cesar Hernandez. The lineup moves on. Well, here's Ben Revere. Revere 3 for 10 in this series, a double and a run scored. That came in the first at bat of this 3-game set. And the first pitch of the day, it's taken down low, so we're underway. Muscott in his first outing in the first inning threw 37 pitches. That is one of the keys, is to get into any team's bullpen, but in particular this Reds bullpen, which has an earned run average of 4.62. Two balls and 1 strike to Revere. The Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Melissa Jarina of Downingtown. Phillies hit a home run in today's ball game. Then Melissa will win $300. Foul tip, and it's 2-2.
Well, I think if you talk about the Reds bullpen, it just goes to show that it doesn't matter if you have all power arms, you have to know how to pitch with a power arm.
Yeah, they've had 2 guys that have been really consistent, J.J. Hoover and Aroldis Chapman, and that's been it. That pitch was awfully close. It's 3-2. And Revere lofts it out toward left field. And Skip Schumacher, playing left today, makes the catch, 1 away. Mike DeMuro is behind the plate. He has a piece of Phillies history on his resume. Mark Carlson's at first, Brian Gorman's at second, and Adam Hamare is over at third. Mike DeMuro was the home plate umpire during Roy Halladay's perfect game. Well, here's Odubel Herrera. Herrera 4 for 8 so far in this series. Had a nice night last night. In fact, had 3 hits and also an RBI and a sac fly. He fouls the first pitch back off the screen. It's 0-1. Speaking of Roy Halladay, John Muscott, the starting pitcher for the Reds, his favorite player growing up was Roy Halladay.
Good choice.
Off the end of the bat, foul territory. Frazier will give it a look over toward the railing, and he makes the backhanded grab, and Brian Pena saves him from going into the dugout. What a great catch by Todd Frazier. 2 outs. I honestly didn't think he was going to get there in time.
No, but the key for this is to run to the spot and then break it down. Now, if he would have jogged the spot, he would never have got there, but he accelerated to the fence, found the fence, made a very nice hand back play, and Pena saved him. Good concentration.
And once the Phillies saw that he had the ball, that's when Jeff Francoeur, Ryan Howard also came over to flip him back. Well, 2 outs, and here's Chase Utley. Utley's mired in an 0 for 18 stretch. It's the 5th time this year. It's just incredible to think about this. 5th time this year that Chase has an 0 for streak that has reached double digits. Ball, 1 strike. I don't know about you, Matt, but that to me is remarkable.
It is. I mean, especially for a guy who's the type of career he's had, the way he's been swinging the bat lately. Puts the ball in play usually.
Well, and plus the fact that it's only June 10th.
Yeah.
2 balls, 1 strike to Chase. 0 for 9 in the series. And he fouls it over toward the Phillies dugout. Phillies as a team are 15th in the league in hitting at .239 with 36 home runs. He fouls it back just below us, and it remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, this could be the hottest game the Phillies have played this year. The temperatures are supposed to get into the 90s at one point today. Fly ball, shallow left field. Cozart, the shortstop, says he has it, and he puts it away. And the Phillies go down quietly here in the top of the first inning. So Moscot has a very easy first compared to his Major League debut's first inning. For the first, let's take a look at Brian Price's lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. It'll be Cozart, Votto, and Frazier, followed by Jay Bruce, Brian Pena, and Ivan DeJesus playing second base for the injured Brandon Phillips. And the bottom third of Schumacher, Negron, and Moscot. Now they will face Phillies right-hander Jerome Williams, 3-5, an ERA of 5.68, making his 13th start. And Matt, the big thing for Jerome, well, there's a couple things, but he's got into the 6th inning only once in his last 8 starts for the Phillies.
Well, he needs to be effective in the strike zone with his fastball, and that's why I said he has to throw fastballs inside for balls and the strikes as well. And that's the most important thing for him, is he has to make the hitters feel uncomfortable. And I don't mean you knock hitters down consistently, but you just get them off the plate so they don't look out over the plate to hit a pitch.
Yeah, I know you were talking about that even last night with Aaron Harang on the mound. I guess you can carry it over to game 1 with Cole on the mound. A lot of comfort for the Reds. Well, here's Zach Cozart. He's been comfortable the entire series, 4 for 9 with a couple of home runs. And you see the scouting report on Jerome?
Yeah, his average velocity 89.8, and he averages about 15.9 pitches per inning. He's making his 5th career start versus the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, overall his 7th appearance. He's 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike to Cozart, and he chops that one toward the hole. Backhanded by Hernandez, long throw in time, and Cozart
hit the bag wrong.
I think he did hit the bag wrong, and man, oh man, he's holding that knee. I thought maybe he tripped over Ryan Howard's foot, but Ryan's foot was not in the way there.
No, when he lunged for first base, his right foot landed on the right side of the first base, and that's what caused the twist of the knee and fall.
Well, the Reds are already without Brandon Phillips, who has a groin injury, and Billy Hamilton, who has a hand injury. Watch it again.
Right there, he lunges and he hits the corner. And he slips, and then his ankle rolls.
Slipped right off the back of the bag. That's incredible. And he was holding his knee when he went down. Look at that extension. Oh. See how he's holding his knee right there?
Yeah, I have a hard time watching those videos.
Yeah, that's a tough one right there.
Replays.
Joey Votto went over, and so did Brian Pena. Of course, Billy Hatcher's there, and they're going to help him up and put pressure on at least 1 foot, and then they're going to help him off the field. He's putting together some pretty good numbers from a power standpoint. Well, now you wonder what they're going to do. I guess they can put Schumacher at second base, and they can put Bosch out in the outfield if Hamilton can't play or Phillips can't play. They only have a 4-man bench. Well, we'll try to get you an update on Cozart's condition as the afternoon moves on.
And also on the bases, they kind of polish the bases so they look brand new every game. A little slippery. But unfortunately, you don't lunge at first base, and you make sure you hit the front part of the bag.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that where somebody hit the back like that and slides out. Well, here's Joey Votto. Count as no balls and 1 strike to Votto, coming off a 3-home run game, and he lines one to center field. That'll drop in front of Odubel Herrera. 4th hit of the series for Votto. And that brings us to our Geico quote of the day. Votto talking about his home runs last night. I just happened to get lucky on 3 pitches. A few of them were out of the zone. That's not typical. You're going to foul a lot if you swing at balls out of the zone. Well, Joey went on to say after the ball game last night that he was kind of overwhelmed when he looked up on the board, and they had announced that he had joined Johnny Bench, one of the greatest Reds of all time, as the only other Red to have 3 home run games.
Great company, but I'm trying to figure out which balls were out of the zone.
Yeah, you broke it down during the open. All of them were kind of in his zone to hit.
Down.
In fact, Aaron Harang even acknowledged that. The 2 that he gave up, he said they were just in the wrong spot, particularly for a left-handed hitter.
Well, it's so easy for a left-handed hitter to generate power with the ball down the zone because it's a natural swing where you're basically just dropping the barrel to the ball.
That one's lifted into left field for a base hit. So back-to-back singles for the Reds, and they've got 2 on with 1 out here in the bottom of the 1st inning. Todd Frazier, his 7th hit of the series. All right, let's take a look at these home runs. Were they out of the zone?
Well, it's right down the middle. Yeah. Right center. Next home run's coming up the left center. That's down the middle, knee high. Power alley for a left-hander. Then McGowan's home run he gave up to right. That's a ball inside, down and into the left-hander. So we talked about it all year about that fastball inside the left-handers. You have to elevate it a little bit about thigh high, and lefties cannot hit that ball.
Well, I guess he was trying to, he was eating a little piece of humble pie. Here's Jay Bruce. He was ejected from yesterday's game. He has struck out 4 times in this series. He was ejected after his 2nd at bat. And Mare, the 3rd base umpire, did the ejecting. No balls, 1 strike to Jay Bruce. Inside, 1-1.
You know, one thing, Tom, about when I talked about pitching inside, if you look at the location This is a cutter low and away or away. Look how you're going out over home plate to hit that ball. That ball and where that area is should not be pulled because it's off the plate. That's why it's so important to keep them honest inside.
Now it's down the left field line. Revere a long run toward foul territory. Makes the catch in fair territory. And there are 2 outs. And particularly, Matt, I would think a guy like Frazier, who does love that outside pitch. So he's looking out over the plate toward the outer edge all the time.
Absolutely. I mean, if you can't pitch inside for strikes, you know, if you can't, get that fastball inside, this ball here, where the location is right here, that's a ball that should be driven to right center. But as a right-handed hitter, going out knowing that he's going to be able to get the barrel out because he doesn't have to worry about being thrown inside for strikes.
So he could cheat a little bit.
Exactly. Joey Votto's base at the center was the same way.
There's Brian Pena, who takes in 1-0. Pena has played in one of the first 2 games, and he was 2 for 4. That one's pulled into right field, a base hit. Rounding third, heading for home is Votto. The ball is bobbled by Francoeur, so that allows Frazier to go to third. And it's 1-0 Cincinnati. Eighth RBI of the year for Pena.
This would have been interesting to see if French could have came up with the ball. Nice swing, nice level swing right there, but it would have been interesting to see how close that play would have been on home plate because Frenchie has a very good arm and Votto has average speed.
Yeah, Jim Riggleman was sending him the whole way. All right, so they charge an error to Francoeur. It's his first of the year. And that's because Frazier went from second to third. He had stopped at second base until the bobble. Here's Ivan DeJesus who takes low. DeJesus is playing second. We mentioned that they could move Schumacher to second, and DeJesus could move to shortstop for the injured Cozart. We'll see that. See what they do when we go to the top of the second inning. That one's at the knees. 1 ball, 1 strike. In the air to left field. Going back on it is Revere to the wall. It is gone. A 3-run home run for DeJesus. It's his second major league home run, and it's the second time in as many days that the Reds have hit a 3-run home run in the first inning.
Well, he has shown that he has a very quick bat. We saw that against Cole Hamels, the ball that was inside and off the plate. Well, that one there was in the corner of the plate. Another 3-run home run.
Yeah, the ball is going to carry here today, as you would imagine. But DeJesus put a pretty good swing on that. Isn't it remarkable? When all those plate appearances as an extra man in his 4 or 5 years previously in the big leagues without a home run, and now he has 2 in the last 3 days. Like his pop-up crowd. Swing and a miss, 2-2 to Schumacher. Schumacher hitting .240, no home runs, 4 RBIs. That one back toward the middle. Hernandez behind the bag, throws in time. And the side is retired. But the Reds strike first again. They score 4, 3 of which came on a 3-run home run by that guy right there, Ivan De Jesus. We'll head to the second. It's the Fanatic alternate jersey. Compliments of Pico. It's for fans 14 and under. You get a picture of that jersey right to your left there. Go to Phillies.com and purchase your tickets. You can check out the entire promotional schedule anytime at Phillies.com. Well, changes for the Reds. Brennan Bosch comes on to play center field. And he will bat in Cozart's spot. Moving from center field to shortstop is Chris Negron, who is a shortstop by trade. Becoming a super utility guy up here in the big leagues. First pitch to Maikel Franco is taken high. 1 ball, no strikes. And now 2-0. Well, you talked about Moscott trying to table his nervousness. A 4-run lead should enable you to table your nervousness.
You would hope.
He allowed solo home runs in 2 of his first 3 innings last time, but he retired 11 of 12 in the final 7 batters that he faced. And they lifted him in the 5th. As Franco fouls that one off his back foot. And the count is even 2-2. Maikel has hit in 8 consecutive games. He needs a little extra time here.
Well, he hit this one pretty solid. Sinker inside. Ooh. Off his back toe.
Two balls, 2 strikes to Franco. And he hits that one back toward the middle, backhanded by De Jesus, who was shaded that way. Yeah, there's 1 out. I think there's a chance they'll start shading him more toward the middle like that.
I would believe so.
Because he was farther over than what Brandon Phillips. You see him limping back to the dugout.
You can see the arch shade up the middle a little bit. This ball is actually right back over the rubber up the middle. Hit very hard. But De Jesus makes a very nice play. An easy play.
Ryan Howard tops one foul over toward the Reds dugout. Ryan is 1 for 8 in this series, as 1 was a double in RBI. Franco still showing some pain after that foul ball. Howard pulls that one into right field, a base hit. So the first hit of the day for the Phils. A 1-out single for Howard. And then I'll bring Jeff Francoeur to the plate. During the 2015 season, Turkey Hill, the official ice cream of the Phillies, will contribute $100 for each Phillies victory and 5 cents for each carton of Phillies Grand Slam ice cream, sold to support the Phillies youth baseball and softball programs. Well, here's Francoeur hit it with 4 home runs and 20 runs batted in, hitting .256. Jeff was telling us Bobby Cox stories today before we came over to the ballpark. He's telling us one story where he said, I was so out front of a slider, I missed it by at least 4 feet. As that one has popped up left side, and Frazier stay on his feet this time and makes the catch. He said, I went back to the dugout and Bobby Cox said to me, way to go, Frenchie, you're right on him. And he said, Bobby, I was nowhere near that ball. And he said, no, you were right on him. You were right on him. And he said that he went back out to right field. He said, about 10 minutes later, I convinced myself I was right on that ball because he was so positive. He said, in reality, though, I was still about 3 or 4 feet away from that ball. Here's Cesar Hernandez. Hernandez takes inside. Cesar playing shortstop today for Freddie Galvis. On the left field line, that'll be out of play. Scott last year was 8-11 between AA and AAA for the Reds. He threw 166 2/3 innings. Not a strikeout guy. This year, though, he started the season with a 7-1 record, an ERA of 3.15 at AAA. And that one just missed, and it's 2-2. Howard will be off and running on this pitch with the count 3 balls 2 strikes. Outside, ball 4, and that'll put runners on first and second for Cameron Rupp.
One thing we said about last night, playing in this ball game, this ballpark, you get a bloop and a blast, you can be right back in a game at any time. Even though it's 4-0. Kind of as a hitter, you got to take the approach like a 0-0 game. Don't open your strike zone. Don't be too over aggressive. Look for Paul to drive.
Well, you kind of said that even yesterday. The Phillies were down, what was it, 7-1, and they had the bases loaded. And you pointed that out, particularly on a hot day like it is today. You see 86 degrees. Cameron Rupp takes a breaking ball. It's 0-1. Cameron hitting .214, no home runs, 2 runs batted in. Cameron's had a few more starts recently, as you see. Pena may have crossed up on that. A few more starts recently, and you think about his defense. He's 8 for 18 throwing guys out, which is 44%, which is well above the average, or what the norm is for a good throwing catcher. Usually it's around 32-33%. Well, that 44% number is the best in the National League. Buster Posey's thrown out 41% of the runners who've tried to steal. That one's cracked toward the hole. Base hit it to left field. Howard's around third. He's being waved home. Schumacher's up with it. Here's his throw to the plate, cut off by Frazier. Hernandez is caught between second and third, and he's tagged out. And the side is retired. The run does count. The Phillies are on the board. Hernandez got caught in no man's land. Cameron Rupp with an RBI single, and it's a 4-1 Reds lead. RBI single by Cameron Rupp, and Todd Frazier made a decision, Matt, on that play where Schumacher came up throwing to try to get Ryan Howard at the plate. He made a decision to cut that throw off and not turn and look toward the plate, but go after Cesar Hernandez.
Which is a good decision for Frazier, because one, it's 4-0 game. You'll give the run, but now all of a sudden it's in a rundown. But it would have been very close at home plate, because you can see the reaction of Pena coming around home when he comes at home. He cuts the ball. Howard's still about 25 feet from home plate. But if you watch Pena's reaction right here, the throw's right on the line, head high, and he goes, "Oh man, we probably would have had him." But Frazier did the right thing by cutting it off and getting out of the inning with the first and second situation.
I guess Cesar anticipated that throw was going to go through and not be cut off by Frazier.
Right, and you also could have took the chance of letting it go through because you have the pitcher on deck.
Here's Negron, the number 8 batter, playing shortstop now, and he takes a strike after showing bunt. Negron had a base hit in last night's ball game, hitting 130 on the year. Came up last year, had a pretty good run for the Reds. Off the hands, out toward Utley, and he'll take it out of the air, one away. So 1 out, and here comes Moscot. Moscot did not get a hit in his major league debut. First pitch is over. It's a strike. Moscot actually had pretty good numbers for a pitcher hitting wise in the minor leagues. Hit 204 during his time in the minors. Swing and a miss. 0-2. Had a play over the screen. Swing and a miss. He went after a high pitch. So the first strikeout for Williams. There are 2 outs here in the second. And back to the top of the order. Brennan Bosch will get his first at bat. Well, Murph, we were looking at some of the numbers for Jerome Williams. Obviously his win-loss record's not great, nor is his ERA. There are other numbers that are quite concerning for the Phillies right-hander.
You're right about that, Tom. He came into the season after having really struggled in spring training, but seemed to figure something out early in the season. In the month of April, he was pretty good, but it has been a rough go over the last 7 starts for Jerome Williams. And as you pointed out, one of the big reasons is he's having a really hard time getting right-handers out. You take a look at the numbers against right-handers. In his first 5 starts, just 286 against them, but it has ballooned on the last 7 starts to 407. Right-handers are batting 407 against Jerome Williams. You take a look at one of the big reasons is his changeup has been ineffective against those right-handers. 280 and 571 batting average against his changeup, right-handers against his changeup in the last 7 games. And Matt, you and I were talking about that before the game and trying to figure out, why that would be. And you pointed out that the difference between his fastball and his changeup just really isn't all that much at this point.
Yeah, there's only about 4 or 5 miles an hour difference in his fastball and his changeup, where the happy spot is 8 to 10 miles an hour different. His changeup and his sinker has the exact same motion. So if you can pop some more 4-seam fastballs inside to right-handers, like that 4-seamer right there was very good.
Brendan Bosch is thrown out at first base. I thought Hernandez caught that one out of the air.
But I agree with Murph. The difference between the 2 pitches is not enough. And when he's missing with his changeup, he's missing so bad inside that it's not even hittable. And then when he makes a good pitch, it stays inside and gets hit for a home run. So he needs to start burying the sinker and the changeup down the zone versus right-handers.
Go to the fans section for all the information, and please submit your answer on the subject line. All right, Matt, who was the last Cincinnati third baseman before Todd Frazier in 2014 with 20 or more home runs and 30 or more stolen bases in one season? The answer will be revealed a little later on. We go to the top of the third. Jerome Williams will lead it off. Williams 2 for 19 this year. Phillies pitchers have 13 hits combined.
So 30-30 club? What'd you say, 30 home runs? Oh, sorry, I was doing something.
20 home runs, 30 stolen bases.
20, okay.
Williams takes a strike. It's 0-1. On the outside corner, it's 0-2. I have to admit, I didn't think this guy had this many stolen bases. I knew there were years where he hit home runs. 1-2 to Williams. In fact, he hit a big one in the postseason one year. Now the 1-2 pitch to Williams. Swing and a miss. And that's the first strikeout. Tomorrow morning, wake up with Breakfast on Broad, presented by Virtua Joint Replacement Institute. Weekday mornings from 6 until 8 over on the Comcast Network and streaming live on breakfastonbroad.com. Reuben Frank will be along. So will pro football expert Mike Florio. OTAs all around the National Football League. And comedian Craig Shoemaker making his final tour. I think his final tour has been going on for about 2 or 3 years. There's Ben Revere, who's 0 for 1. We'll probably see Shu when we're out in Los Angeles. The Phillies take on the Dodgers.
Maybe go golf with him again.
Could go golfing with him. Where else did we see him? We saw him in Oakland last year. He came up to visit the Phillies. Down and away, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ben got a little bent back on that one. Listen to that. Whoop.
That's some high cheese right there. Now you throw a fastball back inside and you freeze them. But how dare you throw back-to-back pitches inside? That's where I think the game has changed a lot on the mound, is the amount of pitches, 1, thrown inside the hitters, but 2, it's backing up a pitch inside.
Right.
So you throw a fastball up and into a left-handed hitter, automatically he's going to think away. Thinking, okay, now I got him set up. I have him set up.
That one's looped out towards center field, and it'll drop for a base hit. So Revere has his 4th hit of the series. Toyota Major League Scoreboard. The Blue Jays have reached 500, and now they're trying to extend past it. They lead the Marlins 2-0. That game's in the bottom of the 3rd. A 7-game winning streak for the Toronto Blue Jays. Blue Jays are 4 games out behind the Yankees in the American League East. Yankees have also won 7 consecutive games.
I compare the Blue Jays to the Cincinnati Reds. On paper, I think they have a very good team. They have a very good hitting team, a power hitting team. Now the question mark is the pitching.
Herrera lifts that one out to shallow left field. Schumacher comes in, and he makes the catch. And there are 2 outs. Back to first goes Revere. Well, John Gibbons was saying yesterday that the guy that's pitching the best, and you can't tell from his numbers, is R.A. Dickey, whose ERA is a little over 5.
He's not pitching that good.
Yeah.
You got an ERA over 5?
Don't
kid yourself. Come on, Gibby. Unless you have one real bad game and everything else is good, I can take it, but
I'm just giving you some fodder for you to talk about when you get back to Canada tonight. Dudley takes low. 1 ball, no strikes.
trust me, Tom, when I get to Canada tonight, I will not be talking about the Toronto Blue Jays or Gibby.
You were talking about the Stanley Cup playoffs?
Nope. I would talk about how the girls are making out in school, how my daughter graduates next week in high school, how her exams go this week.
How are they going this week?
Very well. No idea where her smarts came from, but definitely on Lisa's side.
1 ball and no strikes to Utley.
But you know what, Tom?
Yeah.
I could hit the heck out of a fastball.
Yes,
so that's
you
all
can. Utley takes it to the dirt, gets by Pena. Up to second base goes Revere. And that'll be the 9th wild pitch that has occurred under Pena's watch behind the plate. He tried to backhand that ball in the dirt, and it skipped right under his glove.
Well, he tries to backhand it. It's a little lazy. Instead of getting down, blocking the ball, keeping the ball in front of you, relying on trying to pick it.
Just missed outside and low. 3 balls, no strikes, Dudley. What do you got here, Matt? Green light, or is he taking?
He's taken, I think. Have a hot hitter on deck.
And he takes ball 4, so that's the second walk issued by Moscott. And Maikel Franco will step to the plate. Well, the always spectacular Xfinity fireworks shows are scheduled for after the games on Wednesday, July 1st and Thursday, July 2nd. Don't forget the Thursday game, July 2nd, is a 6:35 start. It's all part of the Brewers series. Tickets can be purchased by going to Phillies.com. Franco grounded out to shortstop, or I should say grounded out to second base his first time up. And he pulls that one foul. Boy, he is right on everything, isn't he?
He is.
Do you foresee him being a cleanup hitter down the road, or do you think, I think we may have touched on this a little bit, do you think a number 5 batter?
You know what? I don't think it matters. I think it depends on what type of team you have and what you're basing it around. But he could be a 4 hitter, he could be a 5 hitter, he could be a 6 hitter.
Ryan Howard's held onto that 4-hole for so long. No balls, 1 strike to Franco. And he takes at the knees. It's 0-2.
I will say this, though. Being a 5th hitter, you either lead off a lot of innings or you're hitting with nobody on base, because usually your 4-hole hitter mops up everybody.
He's got a runner in scoring position here. In fact, he's got 2 on with 2 outs here in the top of the 3rd. And he loops that one out towards center field. Bosch is there, and he makes the catch awkwardly. And the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, and 2 men left for the Phils. We've played 2.5 on to the bottom of the 3rd. It's 4-1 Reds. Jesus against Jerome Williams. Time to take a look at our T-Mobile game changers. Joey Votto leads things off, and Votto is among the career leaders in batting average for the Cincinnati Reds. .310, 1 point behind Ernie Lombardi. Bug Holiday. Matt, tell me everything you know about Bug Holiday. How did he get his nickname?
Um,
Is that everything?
Sorry.
Votto swings at the first pitch and he chops it foul. It's 0-1. Bug Holiday played for the Cincinnati Red Stockings. Takes inside, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Ryan Sandberg was talking about Votto's home runs after the game last night. He said it says an awful lot that you can hit 3 home runs to 3 different spots in the ballpark. And obviously it says a lot if you can do it, if you pull 3, but as you pointed out in the open, left center, right field.
Well, the impressive one is left center. I mean, you have to click it perfect. You got to square it up, drive it to left center. The thing is, when he hit that ball to left center, he knew it was gone.
Yeah, whereas we were watching it, I don't know what you thought. I thought it was going to hit the wall, or it may have been caught. Just over the fence, into the fans' hands. See the direction of his home runs this year, 7 to left field. That's not a surprise, right? He's a good power hitter to left field.
Right. Yeah, that's where his power is. That's where he stays through the ball.
Over toward third, backhanded by Franco, and he zips the throw over in time, 1 away. Phillies baseball is brought to you by McDonald's. Try McDonald's new sirloin 3rd pound burgers. Choose from 3 varieties at $4.99 each. McDonald's. I'm loving it. And by Chevrolet. Visit your local dealer at ChevyDealer.com. Frazier singled and scored. He scored on the home run by DeJesus. Takes inside, 1 ball, no strikes. He's now 7 for 10 in this series. Breaks his bat. Hernandez at shortstop waits for it, and he makes the catch for the 2nd out. Today's game is also available in Spanish. Just use the SAP button on your television or change the language through the menu on your cable box.
Bug Holiday, James Ware Holiday. 65 career home runs, 621 RBIs. His last season was 1898.
Died at the age of 43. Didn't live a long life, Matt.
No, he didn't.
He got everything out of it, though. He wasn't a big guy. He was 5'11", but 151 pounds is what he was listed as. Okay, Bruce takes outside, 2 balls and no strikes.
Looking at all the sports histories, I think baseball stats in the history is the coolest. Seeing what guys hit back in the day. Babe Ruth had more home runs 1 year than the whole league did.
I think you also could see the timeline of the game and just how, home runs started to come to life during a certain point. Here's Pena, who singled his first time up. First pitch, a strike. It's 0-1. over the head of Franco. That's going to drop in for a base hit. So Pena has 2 hits. This one a bloop out to left field. Here's DeJesus, who had that 3-run home run his first time up. He's now 4 for 9 in this series. There's the first pitch fastball for a strike.
DeJesus must be standing in that batter's box and thinking he is a home run hitter now. Feeling good, a couple big home runs.
Most home runs his dad ever hit in this season was 5. That was with the Cubs back in '79. When he came over to the Phillies for the start of the '82 season, he had 3 home runs, hit 4 the next year. The ball's 1 strike to DeJesus. Fly ball right field. This one will stay in the yard. Jeff Francoeur puts it away. Side is retired. No runs. 1 hit and 2 men left. So the Phillies are through 3. We'll go to the top of the 4th inning. Ryan Howard will start it off when we come back. Avery weatherproof labels from WB Mason are built to withstand the extreme elements. Trust Avery labels with your most essential shipments. Who bought WB Mason? Top of the 4th inning. Ryan Howard will lead it off. Yeah, you need every kind of hat you can get because it is as warm as we have seen so far this year, and it's only June. Murph, you got enough lotion on? You all covered up and everything?
I am all covered up, and I am also hiding in the shade.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah.
We were going to do this contest where we would follow Murph throughout the day and see how purple he had gotten from the first inning until the end of the game.
We were going to build a graph every 3rd inning.
That would look like a pink chip as we went across.
Well, here's Ryan Howard to lead it off. He singled and scored his first time up. He's 2 for 9 in this series. Howard waves at the first breaking ball. It's 0-1. To the alignment with 3 infielders on the right side. 0-2. Back curveballs. one fouled off to the left side. Mentioned that Moscott went to Pepperdine University. That also produced Randy Wolf and Jamie Moyer's son Hutton, who was just drafted yesterday by the LA Angels of Anaheim. At Pepperdine, he won 9 games. He was 9-7 in 2 years. His ERA dropped from one year to the other by about 2 runs. Went to a junior college before going to Pepperdine. Here's the 1-2 pitch and a call. Strike 3. Howard's down looking. Second strikeout for Moscott. And with one away, Jeff Francoeur is coming up. And for more on Jeff, let's go to Greg Murphy. Murph.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. Well, he is the subject of our Lowe's Never Stop Improving player profile. And Jeff Francoeur started the season a little slow. Didn't see a whole lot of playing time. You take a look at his first 22 games, 169. He did have those 2 home runs, 4 RBIs. But look what he's done over his last 25 games. Batting .350, 2 home runs, 16 RBIs, and 3 doubles. On base percentage at .550. So Jeff has really come on. He's gotten a chance to play a little bit more. And I think we're seeing the results of that, getting a chance to swing a bat, and he's been swinging a hot bat. I can tell you that I talked to Jeff right before the game started, right before the national anthem, and he had just come out of the cage from underneath. He said he was taking some extra swings and getting ready for the game, and listening to Michael Jackson. So he felt like he was ready to go. He said, I've been listening to Michael Jackson for an hour. I'm ready to go.
Ground ball to third. Todd Frazier has it, and there are 2 outs. Yeah, it's interesting. I wouldn't have thought Michael Jackson would get you motivated to get some major league at bats going, Matt.
Yeah, it's definitely not on my playlist. And nothing against Michael Jackson, but if I don't have country on, then I'm not listening to music.
I could see how Pretty Young Thing or something, or Beat It would get you going. Come on.
Cesar Hernandez ropes one down the right field line, just foul, and it's no balls and 1 strike.
Murph, you got a great view out there in left center, right by the bullpen.
That's right, and I'm in a shady spot, which is the best part of it. I'll tell you what, the sight lines in this ballpark are excellent. I've been all around the park over the last couple of days, and really not a bad seat in the house.
There he is in his light blue striped shirt. 0-1 pitch inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. You gonna go up to the pilot house?
I might go up to the pilot house. A little sunny up there right now. I think I'll wait a little bit.
If you go to the top of the pilot house, though, you can get in some shade. There's an awning up there.
I might just travel up there then.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Hernandez.
They have an elevator?
No, there's plenty of people out there. They might be able to carry you.
There you go.
Hernandez walked his first time up. And a breaking ball that just missed. So it's even now, 2 balls and 2 strikes. That one's looped down the left field line. Here comes Schumacher. He's not going to get there. And Cesar Hernandez is aboard. That breaks an 0 for 13 stretch for him. The Phillies have a base runner now for Cameron Rupp, who has given the Phillies their only run here this afternoon.
Notice Cameron's average is climbing a little more each week. He's getting a little more opportunity to play some games, getting his timing down a little bit, up to 228. I'd like to see him get a hold of one. He might hit Murph from left center.
There goes Hernandez. The pitch is taken for a strike, and no throw by Pena. And Cesar has his second stolen base. And now in scoring position. The Phillies have struggled with runners in scoring position this year and in this series.
This is just an unbelievable jump. Pena has no chance of throwing Hernandez out of second base.
1 ball, 1 strike to Rupp. He pulls it foul. Cody Ashley tried to make the play. The fence got in the way, and now it's 1-2. .70 pitches for Moscott. You mentioned last time he only went 5 innings. He's certainly stretched out enough. He threw less than 90 pitches in that game. Another one that's fouled away. So Rupp staying alive against that breaking pitch. It seems like this kid has been exactly what everybody told us he would be. I mean, he does have good movement on his sinker. He's got pretty good life to it.
He does. He throws a good four-seamer, good movement. Now today we haven't seen that very good slider that guy swing and miss at.
That one's pulled down the left field line. It's going to be a fair ball going to the wall. Hernandez will score. Rupp's on his way to second, and the Phillies have their second run of the afternoon. It's a 4-2 ball game. Well, both RBIs off the bat of Cameron Rupp. Just as you mentioned, Matt, his average is climbing.
Well, it's a two-seamer off the plate. Tucks his hands inside nicely. Let's go to the top hand and drives the ball to left field. And more and more Cameron gets a chance to play. More hits he gets, the better feeling he has. Another 2-out knock.
Jerome Williams chops one up the third base line. Frazier charges and flips in time. The side is retired, but the Phillies get one more back on an RBI double by Cameron Rupp. He's 2 for 2 with 2 ribbies here this afternoon. Visit buyatoyota.com to find out. Toyota, let's go places. Buy Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. And buy the Quality Plus Sports Stores. Go further. Last of the fourth inning, the Phillies trail at 4-2. We'll get another run back in their half of the fourth. So now Williams will face the bottom third. Schumacher, Negron, and Moscott, the pitcher. Jerome is just in the middle of his warm-up tosses. He made the final out, so he doesn't have to abide by the clock, which is ticking out in center field, but he's ready to go. A nice boost from Cameron Rupp with his 2 hits today and 2 RBIs. So he'll go back to work behind the plate. You know, we mentioned his numbers earlier, throwing guys out. The fact that Posey is second and then Yadier Molina is third. I mean, that's some pretty good company right there to be in.
And you would think Molina would be first.
I actually thought that's who would be first when I was looking at the numbers. But 8 of 18, Cameron is throwing guys out. That one is spoiled foul, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
I think you have to give credit to your pitching staff for doing a good job of holding base runners on. Phillies done a pretty good job this year holding guys on. St. Louis always has. And the Giants, we just saw on the weekend, they do a very nice job of holding runners on as well.
Broken bat. And a pop up over toward Franco, and he makes the catch, 1 away. That'll bring Chris Negron to the plate. Friday, June 19th, when the Phillies take on the St. Louis Cardinals, who Matt just talked about. It will be 1960s retro night. Turning back the clock to the late 60s. Phillies and Cardinals will wear retro 60s uniforms. You can get tickets by going to Phillies.com for that 3-game series.
Have you guys figured out what you and Ben will be wearing that night?
No, have not. Outside, it's actually Murph and Ben.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's right, because you have your son's graduation.
Yeah, you have your daughters coming up. I have my sons coming up.
Murph wants to wear a suit.
I wonder what kind of suit you'd wear from the late 60s. You do any research on that, Murph?
Right now, Anchorman. I'm going to wear that one.
Like a maroon one? Is that what it is?
Probably.
Yeah. You look good in maroon. What a maroon.
Yes.
1 ball, 1 strike to Negron. That one's hit back toward the middle, a base hit. So he's aboard, a 1-out single. That'll bring Muscat to the plate. He struck out his first time up. We'll see what his bunting skills are like here. Negron's got good speed. Chase Utley's in on the grass on the right side, trying to get the play down, whatever Ryan Sandberg decides that he wants them to do. And the bunt goes foul, and it's 0-1. That one goes foul. So no balls and 2 strikes. So at a Major League scoreboard, Nationals lead the Yankees 1-0. Denard Span with an RBI double. That game's in the bottom of the 3rd. And the Yankees have won 7 straight. Nationals have lost 3 straight. Somehow they've remained just a half game behind the Mets, though, in the division. And there's strike 3. Muscat is down for the 2nd time on strikes as he bunts that foul. And that's 2 outs now for Brennan Bosch. I know I keep saying this, Matt, but the Braves are only 2.5 games out in the East. They traded everybody away, and they're just 2.5 games out. It's remarkable.
No, it is. And everyone talked about how bad they were going to be this year. Well, they've turned a lot of heads. It's going to be interesting to see. Are they going to be buyers or sellers if they stay close?
There was a story the other day. It was just a very brief story. It was a Q&A with one of the Braves writers as that ball was smoked off the camera on the third base dugout. And they said, you know, what if they need a closer for the All-Star break? You know, if they feel like they have to upgrade their bullpen, could they go get somebody like a Kimbrel? No balls, 1 strike to Bosch. Yes, 0-2. It's a good cutter from Jerome. Broken back ground ball back toward the middle. Utley's got it, hurries the throw, and it's not in time. Bosch is safe at first. Ryan Howard asked for time. He didn't really react at all, so he must have beaten it. There wasn't a whole lot Utley could do. I mean, he got to it as quickly as he could. All right, let's take a look.
Well, Bosch gets out of the batter's box very good. Right here,
it's really close. Well, they are going to review it. So the umpires will go over and get the headsets on. Ryan Sandberg signaled. Boy, that was really close. I have to see it again. It did look like the throw arrived just ahead of the foot hitting the bag. Would have loved to have seen Ryan Howard stretch a little bit more for that throw, and then it probably wouldn't have been as close. I think he felt like he had it. So Brian Gorman is to your right, and Mark Carlson is to your left. They will review this with the folks in New York. In fact, they don't have any say. They'll just listen to what the folks in New York say. Take another look.
He might be out, depending on the heel.
Right. That angle looked like he was out. Yeah. But again, whether it's conclusive enough or not, these calls have kind of gone both ways this year. We've had an easier time, I think, this year than last year, though, deciphering whether a base runner is out or safe. But again, the problem for the folks in New York is deciding when did the ball, or where is the ball? Is it in the glove, or is it just arriving in the glove? It's awfully close.
That view looks like he's safe. The other view looks like he's out.
All right, here we go, and they say he's safe. So it'll be an infield hit, and that'll put runners on first and second with 2 men down. All right, so Ryan Sandberg is out of review opportunities. And here's Joey Votto. It's important because Votto obviously has been so good with the long ball in the series. Those 3 home runs yesterday. You're trying to get out of this one and not give him another opportunity with base runners. Balls in 1 strike. Officially, they say that the call stands. So not confirmed, which means there wasn't enough evidence to overturn it. Up high, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
That ball's right down the middle. Like it was a perfect pitch to hit.
Yeah. Well, you count your blessings, Matt. Just like that one.
Joey will go in the 2-strike stance to call choke and poke. Take something off the swing and put the ball in play.
Outside, do you like that approach by doing something like that? See, I think it takes away what he is as a hitter. But
well, I mean, it's hard to argue when he's got a career batting average of what, 311, high on base percentage.
You make a very good point, Matt Stairs.
You know, the better chance of putting the ball in play than striking out.
How about his on-base percentage with runners in scoring position? .472 for his career. He sprays that one foul down the left field line. It remains 2-2. Important spot right here for Jerome Williams to try to get out of the fourth inning. The Phillies have climbed back to within 2. You've got the dangerous Joey Votto at the plate with 2 runners on and 2 men down. And he pulls it foul. Billy Hatcher stays on his feet as it goes by him, and it remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Threw him a changeup out to left field. Ben Revere is under it, and Williams gets out of the jam here in the fourth inning. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 men left. We've played 4. On to the 5th. Top of the order is due up for the Phils when we return. His answer. All right, Matt, here we go. Who was the last Cincinnati third baseman before Todd Frazier in 2014 with 20 or more home runs and 30 or more stolen bases in a season?
Mr. Boone. Aaron Boone.
Aaron Boone is correct. 26 and 32 in 2002. You did a good job with that. I mean, you brainstormed. You initially said Scott Rowland, which, you know, not a bad pick at all. And then you somehow went to Aaron Boone.
But you said big home run, which was
exactly
in Yankee Stadium.
I didn't know if that would help you or not.
It did. So I appreciate it, Tom.
I was trying to throw you off the path a little bit.
Feeling very comfortable right now heading north on my trivia.
Ben Revere leads it off. He's 1 for 2, and Revere takes a strike. It's 0-1. What do you think of their approach so far against Muscat these first 4 innings?
Not too bad. This is what I've noticed the last few games, is that we do not have a very aggressive swing, minus Franco. We're in kind of the defensive mode swing. It's like almost like a Joey Votto 2-strike swing, where we want to make contact and hopefully something happens.
Right.
But I know a lot of guys, they're so worried about striking out. But I think strikeouts are overrated. What's the difference if you get up there and take 3 great swings and you strike out, or you hit a weak fly ball to left field? What's the difference?
Well, yeah, you're not going to produce a run if you hit a weak fly ball to left,
Right.
but if you hit a ground ball, maybe you produce a run. That's probably
Right.
the only thing, right?
So if you think about taking a firm swing, think about hitting down on the ball. I just don't like the defensive swings where you hit a lot of weak fly balls.
Yeah. Odubel takes a healthy hack there, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Low, 2 balls and 1 strike. That's a pretty good curveball right there, 75 miles an hour. You wonder how the Reds will approach Moscot if he gets through, let's say, this 5th inning without any problems at all. Whether they would decide to lift him like they did his last outing. There's that weak fly ball out to left field. Schumacher is under it, and he makes the catch. You can fill out your 2015 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot now at Phillies.com. Voting is exclusively online and available on your computers, tablet, and smartphone. Vote up to 35 times at Phillies.com. All-Star Game will be right here in Cincinnati this year. Countdown is on, 33 days away. Countdown clocks all around the area, including one at Fountain Square.
So and this is the last thing I'm going to talk about, the weak fly balls. Over half of our outs, we have 7 weak fly balls, either pop outs or fly outs.
So they may have a good approach on what they're doing. They're just not squaring anything up against them, except for what Rupp has done today.
Right, and you can give credit to the pitcher if his ball's moving and he's getting out in front or has a good changeup, but
he takes an off-speed pitch, that changeup, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike.
So Chase is in the middle of a 0 for 19.
0 for 19.
And he's hitting a lot of weak fly balls to left. He should think about hitting right center Toyota sign.
He chops that one, and De Jesus is at second base, throws him out. A 1-2-3 5th inning for Moscot. So 1-2-3 first, a 1-2-3 5th. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th inning. The Reds still holding on to a 2-run lead. Brought to you by Citizens Bank. Citizens Bank's Champions in Action program recognizes nonprofit organizations that are making a difference in our communities. Congratulations to our latest champion, Philadelphia Academies. To learn more, visit citizensbank.com/community. At Citizens Bank, we want to help you bank better. So the next time you have a question about money, don't keep it to yourself. Ask a citizen. Oscott is through 5. He's allowed 2 runs so far. And he'll watch as Todd Frazier will lead things off. It does not look like they're going to lift him after 5. I think they'd be crazy to do it.
Oh, I agree 100%.
Frazier singled his first time up and popped out. No balls and 1 strike. The end of the bat into the camera well. Boy, he does take some funky swings, doesn't he? They talk about his success, and I know you touched on this the other day, but that he gets out front so well. His style's a little different than many other hitters, but he gets that bat out front.
He wants to attack the ball. A lot of hitters, you're taught of making the ball get as deep as possible in the strike zone, which allows you to use all parts of the field. Frazier wants to get out there, and he wants to use that top hand and hook.
No one's popped the foul behind the plate out of play.
And it takes a very strong man to do his type of swing. Dave Winfield was the same way. He got off the plate, he dove in, he wanted to pull everything. He had everything out in front of home plate.
Swing and a miss. And strikeout number 3 for Jerome Williams. Well, that was exactly where Rupp wanted it. And that'll bring Jay Bruce to the plate. So Frazier's at bat is over. Bruce, who is 0 for 1, walked his last time up. Grounds it foul. Ground foul, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Okay. Ball's hit out toward Utley, who steps to his left and throws out Jay Bruce. Tonight at 6, find out how Eagles linebacker Kiko Alonso is recovering following ACL surgery, and how Jordan Matthews, the #1 pick, Nelson Aguilar are really hitting it off. Watch Quick Slants presented by Nissan, only on Comcast Sportsnet. All right, so 2 outs. Here's Brian Pena. Jerome Williams has not been able to solve him today. Pena's 2 for 2 with an RBI and a run scored. The first pitch is outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Down the right field line, it'll hook foul, and it's 1-1. Surprisingly, out of everybody in the Reds lineup, Brian Pena was the only one that had an at bat in the starting lineup against Jerome Williams. He was 1 for 1, and now he's 4 for 4 against him. So he's 3 for 3 today, and that gives the Reds a base runner for DeJesus. Brian Price in his second year as the skipper, very good pitching coach before he took over as the manager of the Cincinnati Reds. Where will his fate lie when this season comes to a close? We'll see. If he ever loses this job, he certainly will get an opportunity to be a pitching coach somewhere. Outside, 1-0 to DeJesus.
Cincinnati's only 5 games under 500.
5 games under 500, but 11 out in the Central. And that's just the difference in the division.
Thanks to the Cardinals.
38-21 are the Cardinals. They're 6.5 ahead of Chicago and Pittsburgh. And they've dealt with injuries. Holiday just went on the disabled list. Carpenter's been banged up. Adams is out for the year. John Jay was on the DL. Still may be on the DL. 1 ball, 1 strike to DeJesus. Let's hit foul out toward the concourse behind home plate.
Keep going farther and farther outside. DeJesus has proven that he can get the fastball inside, make him beat to the right.
Well, that's exactly what Rupp tried to do there. He was set up way outside.
Going away again.
Chopper over toward Utley. He'll move to his right this time. Flip to Hernandez, and the inning is over. 4-6 on the putout. Side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, and nobody left. We'll go to the 6th inning. Phillies trailing by 2. That guy will lead it off. Back with the big club and make it a case for why he belongs. Michael has been hot at the corner with his glove since his return and has defended the left side of the infield with his strong arm. At the plate, he has got into the swing of things in a hurry, and his power has definitely been on display, depositing 4 home runs, 8 extra base hits, and 8 RBIs in the first week of June alone. Franco's contributions are indeed welcomed and are brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Well, the Phillies trail at 4-2 as Maikel Franco will lead things off here in the top of the 6th inning. He's 0 for 2 today. He's grounded out. He's also flied to center field. He's had himself a good series, 5 for 9, Murph, in this series, and quite frankly, he's had a very good start to his second big league chance.
Yeah, you just told the folks what he's done this week. It's been a good week for him. It's been a pretty good road trip so far to get things started. He's just swinging the bat very well. He's looking very comfortable up there. You take a look at where he's hitting the ball, and you know, you talked about aggressive swings, Matt. You would expect that he would have that power down the left field line on his pull side, and that's where most of his home runs have gone. But a real bright spot, you see that one that he hit in D.C. that went out to right center field. That shows that he's got some power going the other way, and a lot of those base hits that he has, of those 27 base hits, right up the middle. We saw the Reds in the first inning shift a little bit to try and pinch up that middle, and it worked for him effectively. But he's been able to show that he's able to hit it pretty much to all fields, and you know, to survive in this league and to be a good hitter in this league, you really need to be able to do that. He's been able to do that.
Well, he just spun this one off the end of the bat, and DeJesus throws him out, so he's 0 for 3 here today. He hasn't had many 0-fers since he's come back up.
No, and one thing I like about looking at the chart is that all the base hits in center field. Now, I would think that Franco, yes, he is a pull hitter because he has an open stance, doesn't really close. But what I like is this home run right here should tell him that he has tremendous power to right field. You know, that's the home run he hit in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
So to me, he lets the ball get deep. He can drive the ball to right field. But very impressed with how many base hits he has in center field.
Howard flicks that one fouled on the left field line, and it's 0-1.
And the more time he is in the big leagues, he will learn when to try to pull a ball and when to hit the ball to right center. And a lot has to do with who's on the mound.
Yeah, and his familiarity with some of those pitchers, too. As he plays more games, he'll understand it a little bit more. Howard hits one out toward right center field, and Jay Bruce is under it, and there are 2 outs. So Murph, how's the view up there near the pilot house?
As expected, it's pretty spectacular. You know, straightaway center field. It's absolutely a gorgeous day. It is warm. There's no doubt about that in the sun, but it is a perfect day for baseball, and it's a great seat. People up here seem to be enjoying it.
Well, Jeff Francoeur hits one toward that direction, but it's going to drop in front of Bosch for a base hit. It's a 2-out single, and Cesar Hernandez is coming to the plate. All right, you got one more level to climb up. You got to go up just a few more steps, and you're up to the top of the pilot house.
Yeah, you know, you guys were talking about yesterday. You're talking about the All-Star game and the home run derby.
Yeah,
this would be an awesome place to be sitting for that home run derby, no doubt about it. And I do think you're going to see a couple balls coming. It's a long way from home plate, but I think you'll see a couple up here.
I would totally agree with that. Cesar takes low, 1 ball, no strikes.
See if we get another 2-out rally going. Get Cameron back up there again.
Rupp waits on deck. He has the 2 RBIs today for the Phils. He's 2 for 2. Inside, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Outside 3-2, so Francoeur will be off and running on this pitch. Cesar Hernandez trying to extend the life of this inning. So he's down by 2. There goes Francoeur, and the pitch is pulled out towards second. 1 hopper to Von DeJesus. And Joey Votto's able to hang onto the bag, and the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. So Moscot is through 6. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th inning with the Phils still down 2. Where health is all we do. Call 1-800-JEF now or visit jefferson.edu. And by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop Nissan.com. Well, with Matt Stairs and Greg Murphy, I'm Tom McCarthy. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th inning. John Moscott in his second major league game has gone 6 innings so far. He's getting the helmet on. He's due up 3rd in this inning. First pitch to Schumacher. He's taken for a strike. There is bullpen action, so I guess if they get some base runners, maybe they'll pinch hit for him, depending on the spot. Matthews is warming up.
They have no one on the bench to hit.
Well, that's true. They have Barnhart. That's it. Their backup catcher.
Who was the pitcher last night that hit?
Lorenzen.
Yes.
He flips over to first in time to get Schumacher. One away. He did some pretty good swings.
Got a knock.
Here's Christopher McGraw, who's 1 for 2. Jerome Williams with 1 out here in the 6th inning. We mentioned he's gone into the 6th inning only 1 time in his previous 8 starts. That was back on May 26th. He's kept the Phillies in this. It's given up those 4 runs in the first. Araujo warming up in the pen. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Every time the Phillies pitchers retire, the opposition 1-2-3. Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. 2 balls, 1 strike.
I stand corrected. Lorenzo did not get a base hit last night.
He hit a ground ball, right?
Correct.
Hit it pretty hard, though. Not that that indicates anything, but he looked like he was very hitterish. Again, this time backhand, sets himself and throws in time, and there are 2 outs. Well, if you're interested in hitting the road with the Phillies and going to San Diego, there is a trip that is available by going to Phillies.com/Phillies Vacations. It's a great opportunity. You get a chance to go out to a great city. You also see a great ballpark, and it's 4 nights accommodations, brunch with us broadcasters, a tour of Petco Park, tickets for all 3 games in San Diego, a custom Phillies road trip polo shirt. So go to Phillies.com/Phillies Vacations or call 877-833-7326 as Moscott has his first major league hit, and it's an infield single. Again, the Phillies do not have a challenge, but it did look like he had beaten that.
Chopper off home plate. Hernandez comes in. A little couple extra steps, but it looks like he beat it in first base. With that, even a hitter's smell hits. Right there, like a little traveling.
Nice job, Matt, using a basketball term.
Thank you.
Bosch is 1 for 2. He came on when Zach Cozart was injured. We have not gotten an update on Zach Cozart as of yet. He slipped off the first base bag and looked like he turned his ankle, but was grabbing his knees. He went to the ground back in the first inning on a ground out to short. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Bosch. Another ground ball to Utley. He's up with it, and the inning is over. So Jerome Williams is through 6 innings here this afternoon. Aside from that first, he's done a pretty nice job for the Phils. The Reds leave 1. Moscott's first major league hit. Impressive here this afternoon. John Moscott, the first-year player for the Cincinnati Reds, second major league game. He kept the ball on the ground.
He did. He did a nice job today. He only had 2 strikeouts there with the front door sinker to Ryan Howard. But he kept the hitters off balance with the late movement, adding and subtracting on the fastball. That's all you need to do as a hitter. You add and subtract, you get a lot of weak swings, a lot of ground balls, and a lot of weak fly balls. So for a second major league outing, very nice.
He's in line for the victory if the Reds can hang on as we go to the top of the 7th inning. It's time now for the Delaware Valley Honda Dealers game summary. Cameron Rupp has provided the offense for the Phillies today. He has 2 hits, 2 RBIs. Jerome Williams, 6 innings, 3 strikeouts. He'll be lifted for a pinch hitter momentarily. And Ivan De Jesus' 3-run home run fueled a 4-run first inning for the Cincinnati Reds. So we go to the top of the 7th. Ryan Matthews will take over. Moscott is done for the day. And Matthews, part of a maligned bullpen, whose earned run average as a group is 4.62. They've had a lot of the same problems the Phillies have. They've walked a lot of guys. So Matthews, who they acquired from the Washington Nationals, will begin against Cameron Rupp, who's 2 for 2. No ball, no strikes as the first pitch is out of the zone. Rupp whacks the next pitch foul off his foot.
It's about 4 or 5 hitters we've seen this series fouling balls off the calf or the back foot. Or
the whole back foot thing is, I just marvel at that the ball would go there. Balls, 2 strikes to Cameron. Tony Cingrani is the lefty warming up in the pen for the Reds. That one's popped up behind home plate and out of play. Ball was bouncing every which way, and those guys were able to pick it up. outside, and it's 3 balls and 2 strikes. High chopper to third. Room service hot for Todd Frazier. And it's 1 away. And here comes Andres Blanco. They're going to pull Andres Blanco back. They're going to have Cody Ashe bat instead of Blanco. So Ryan Sandberg decides to send Ashe up there. You have thoughts on that, Matt? What the difference would be?
I think right now Blanco's showing more power with the doubles.
So if somebody gets on,
he would have hit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's been good. 6 extra base hits as a pinch hitter. So Jerome Williams' day is done after 6 innings. Jerome pitched well despite that first. And Ashe takes a strike. It's 0-1. Jerome and his buddy Sean O'Sullivan chatting in the dugout. Phillies all of a sudden have this veteran rotation. They all know each other from previous teams, previous encounters. Kevin Correa, who's scheduled to start Friday, his bullpen session went fine yesterday. He knows Jerome. He knows Aaron Harang. No balls and 2 strikes to Ashe. Outside 1-2. Ground ball right side to Jesus. To his left has it, and Ashe's retired. So 2 outs. And that'll bring the top of the order up at Ben Revere. Revere has 1 hit and 3 at bats so far today. Now the Phillies trying to avoid their 3rd sweep, their 3rd series sweep. Their last 5 series, they've also struggled on the road. Obviously, everybody knows they're 7-22 on the road. And they've lost 6 in a row on the road. Outside corner, 1 ball, 1 strike. Softly to the left side, charging and trying to barehand it is Negron, and Ben Revere will have a base hit. That's his 2nd hit of the day. Negron actually, I think, had time to field it with his glove and then throw. It may have been a close play, but I think he may have had time to make that play.
He did. I mean, Ben got jammed, but he didn't get that jammed. He was off balance getting on the batter's box, but definitely had time to catch the ball, come up, and throw across the infield.
Again, the tying run now coming to the plate in Odubel Herrera, who's 0 for 3. they have scored that an E6, not an infield hit. Odubel takes a strike, and it's no balls and 1 strike. I'm a little surprised by that. Maybe they saw the same thing we were talking about, that he had time to make the play with his glove.
Then that means you're assuming that he would have fielded it and threw him out.
Interesting. All right, so we'll mark down E6 for now, and that may change. Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Is that the same guy as yesterday?
You know, that's a good question. I don't know if it is.
It is.
No, it is.
Yeah.
So you knew the answer.
Well, I had someone help me.
No. Hey, he was giving out hits left and right yesterday. 1-1 to Odubel.
He was my favorite player yesterday.
Ben Revere has stolen 12 bags. He's been caught 3 times. He had a bunch of friends and family with him last night till the game was over with. As we said, he grew up in Lexington. Went to Lexington Catholic. Not too far from here. And Herrera fouls it off to the third base side. So it's 1-2. Tried to check his swing. Did he go? No, says the third base umpire. He's lucky he held that one. It's now 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Actually, I don't even think he even came close. It's just more upper body movement.
Yep, I agree.
The chest went forward, the bat stayed back. If you didn't believe me, just ask Herrera because he told the umpire no.
As he normally does. He's there to help. And a line drive down the left field line that's going to drop in for a base hit. On his way to third is Revere. And Odubel Herrera has put runners on first and third with 2 men down. And Chase Utley's coming up. And Brian Price, I would think, is going to come out and bring in the left-hander. So Price is coming up the stairs, and he will make a pitching change. He's got Tony Cingrani warming up in the pen, with Utley coming up next. And the tying run over at first base. So pitching change here at Great American Ballpark. The Phillies are down by 2, and they have 2 on. The Phillies Baseball Academy is open for business. It's for boys and girls interested in baseball and softball camps. You can call 610-520-3400 or go to PhilliesCamps.com for more information. You get a trip to Citizens Bank Park, and you also get a Phillies Baseball Academy uniform. There are a number of weeks and locations to choose from. Again, go to PhilliesCamps.com or call 610-520-3400. Well, back here at Great American Ballpark, the Phillies trail the Reds 4-2. But the Phillies have 2 runners on, 2 men down, and Chase Utley is due up. And he will face Tony Cingrani, who is 0-2 with a 3.27 earned run average. He's allowed 1 home run, but that 1 home run was a grand slam. And that tied the game this past weekend against the San Diego Padres. Utley has popped out to short, grounded out to second. Hitless in his last 20 ABs. 0 for 11 in this series, so he is due 0 for 6 lifetime against Cingrani.
Cingrani can be very tough on left-handers. Tops out at 94 miles an hour, change and a slider.
Up and in, 1 ball, no strikes. Inside now 2-0. Reds do have Burke Badenhop warming up, so I guess if Cingrani loses Utley, they'll bring Badenhop in to face Franco. First, though, it's Chase Utley. Now a throw over to first. He's got 2 inherited runners here. Utley takes strike 1. It's 2-1. That was 91 mile an hour fastball. Fouls it down the left field line. They have changed the Ben Revere ball to a base hit, an infield single. Originally scored an error. See Utley's numbers against left-handers. As he was picking his average up over 200, his numbers against lefties were improving. See there, 316 since May 16th. Two-two pitch out toward left field. Schumacher is there, sunglasses on his hat, waiting for it, makes the catch, and the side is retired. Phillies do threaten with 2 men down here in the 7th inning, but they do not score. They leave a couple. Time to stretch here in Cincinnati. Phillies trail the Reds 4-2. because they got the Pirates this weekend, then they go to Baltimore for a couple. The Orioles come back home to Philadelphia, and then the Cardinals are in town. And if that doesn't make matters worse, then they got to go back to New York to take on the Yankees in a 3-game series. First, though, they've got a few more innings to go here, trying to come from behind, down 4-2. Elvis Araujo is the new pitcher for the Phils. 12th ball game. He's 1-1 with an earned run average of 1.80. And he's on because Joey Votto is due to lead it off. Votto is 1 for 3 here today. He singled and scored in the first. He's grounded out. He's also flied out to left. First pitch is inside. It's 1-0. I don't know what he was just doing. Swing and a miss, 1-2. See if he can make that same pitch right here. Araujo, the only lefty out of the Phillies bullpen. And he does. That was an even better slider. He picks up a strikeout, 1 out.
I don't think it really mattered what he threw up there right there.
He was swinging.
Joey was not seeing the ball very well at all. He flinched on the fastball down the middle. Came with a slider. And this one here is a slider out of the zone. Not a good feeling when you do not pick the ball up off a left-hander, being a left-handed hitter.
Freitas throwing in the pen. Todd Frazier takes one outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Warming up in the pen as you would expect for the Reds. He's their setup guy. 1 man down, bottom of the 7th inning. The Reds scored 4 in the first, and the Phillies are trying to climb back. Frazier lifts one out toward left field. It's deep. Going back is Revere toward the scoreboard. He jumps and he misses it. It's off the top of the wall, and Frazier will pull into second base with his 16th double of the year. The Phillies are fortunate that ball stayed in the ballpark the way it took off.
We talked about how he wants to get out and hit that ball up front. Gets jammed just a hair. Good effort by Ben Revere. Nice job of Herrera coming over to back up. Just shows you how strong he is, getting that far out in front of the ball, getting jammed.
Ben just wasn't tall enough to reel that one in. All right, now Jay Bruce. Bruce is 0 for 2 with a walk. He walked back in the third. And the first pitch is low. 1 ball and no strikes.
It's nice to see that 95-mile-an-hour fastball from Elvis.
Ball does get on top of the hitter pretty quickly, not only because of the velocity but his overall size. Nice crowd today, 32,994. Two balls, 1 strike. And it's out of play. It's 2-2. Folks got their sun deck. They're all out enjoying the water in Ohio. A little sunshine. That guy's going to fall. Here he goes. I really thought he was going to wipe out. You did think he was going to slip off the side of that, didn't you?
Yeah. Then I saw him do the jackknife. I thought he was going to hit his head.
Yeah. 2 balls and 2 balls and 2 strikes. Right there, he didn't look all that coordinated. I think he was trying to get everybody on the back all soaked, and the splash went the other way. It was outside or a little low, and it's 3 balls and 2 strikes to Jay Bruce.
Tom, you ever do that when you had a boat?
I didn't do that. Off the back, I did. It's not safe to go off the side like that. Kind of a big dude too. You saw the boat rocking when he was going off the side like that. 3-2 pitch and a call. Strike 3. Bruce doesn't argue this time. He just turns and goes back to the dugout. So 2 away here in the 7th inning. And Brian Pena, switch hitter, coming up. He'll bat right-handed against Araujo.
Well, there's no fooling it. Here's a fastball right down the middle, and Bruce had to be looking off speed.
Brian Pena's been tough to solve. He's 3 for 3. Low, and it's now 2 balls and no strikes. And a line drive back toward the middle, under the glove of Utley in his center field. Rounding third, heading for home is Frazier. The throw to the plate is not in time. Frazier gets in, and it's now a 5-2 ball game. Second RBI of the day for Pena. First 4-hit game since 2012 for Pena. Herrera makes a good throw here.
He does. We have not seen this yet this year, his throw, but it's that big hop right at the end. I think if the ball hits and scoots and stays down low, you see how it pops up and slows the tag down, which is not Herrera's fault by no means, because it's a perfect throw, but also a good slide by Bruce.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, by Frazier.
Yeah, it was a good job by Frazier to get that foot on the plate before the tag.
Right there, it bounces up.
Rupp did a good job too. He was out front. He gave him a path to slide in. So the RBI for Pena makes it a 5-2 game. And Ryan Sandberg's out to the mound to change pitchers. So he'll bring in the right-hander. Elvis Araujo's day is done. And the Phillies trail it by 3. tab for select weekend dates here in 2015. You get 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, and 4 sodas for $100. Again, go to Phillies.com. You can check out all the dates that are available as part of the Phillies family pack. Well, runners in here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Next to Brian Pena's RBI single. There are 2 outs, and Justin DeFreitas will take over for Elvis Araujo. And Ivan DeJesus Jr. will be the batter. See DeFreitas' numbers, a 3.77 ERA. DeJesus is 1 for 3. The one, though, was a 3-run home run. It was a big one. And he fouls the first pitch. It's 0-1. Reds now have 5 straight ball games in which they have 10 hits or more. There are 11 hits here this afternoon. Pena, who mentioned that the 4 hits ties his career high, did that with Kansas City back in 2012. One is in the dirt, blocked by Rupp, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Good slider there by DeFreitas, and it's 1-2. But he has command of it. That slider is really good.
It's very good. It is. It's very good. It was nice to see his fastball the other day hit 95. But when his slider is good, it's a very late break and it's down in the zone. And a lot of hitters swing over top of it like you just saw. But he has to repeat it.
Pena's got a big lead off second, and the fastball is in there for a called strike 3. So DeJesus is down looking. The Reds do get an extra run on the single by Pena. We've played 7. It's 5-2 Cincinnati. You buy W.B. Mason. You can't go wrong when you buy right. Then buy your Delaware Valley Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Del Val Honda dealer or visit DelValHondaDealers.com today. Well, the boat shot that we showed you before, they just showed it up on Fanavision here at Great American Ballpark. If you heard the laughter in the background, the gentleman who went off the side of the boat. Time now for our Hyundai defensive play of the game.
Well, this comes back all the way in the first inning. Herrera hits a little pop-up over by the Phillies dugout. Frazier comes over, makes a very nice play. From the turnbuckle, but Pena holds on to. Very fine play by Mr. Frazier. That's why it's your defensive play of the game, brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers.
Well, here's J.J. Hoover setting it up for the Reds. 4-0, a 1.93 ERA. And he will face Maikel Franco, Ryan Howard, Jeff Francoeur. Maikel is riding an 8-game hitting streak as he bats here in the 8th inning. Hitless in his first 3 ABs. Maikel taking a strike, and he takes one there. It's 2-1. And there's a base hit to left field, and Franco's hitting streak is up to 9 consecutive games. So the leadoff batter's aboard here in the 8th inning. And Ryan Howard will come up. Howard is 1 for 3. Let's check in with Greg Murphy with the Major League Notebook. Murph.
All right, thanks very much, Tom. Brought to you by St. Joseph's University and the San Diego Padres. We're hoping to get Brandon Morrow back in their rotation sooner rather than later. He was out on a rehab start, and he felt some pain in that shoulder again. He's been dealing with some shoulder inflammation. He felt some more pain, so they are going to shut him down once again. He was 2-0 with a 2.73 ERA to start the season, but has been dealing with that shoulder issue for quite some time. And this happened last night, but certainly worth a mention. Astros rookie Carlos Correa playing in game number 2 of his major league career. Of course, the former #1 overall pick and a highly touted prospect. Well, he got his first major league home run last night, a 2-run shot that helped them get the victory over the Chicago White Sox. After the game, he said he was able to get the ball. He traded it for an autographed bat and says that he is sending it back home to his parents, and they're going to hold on to it. Something that he's a lot more sentimental than Matt Stairs, who doesn't care if you get that home run ball. But obviously Correa did. He's got his first major league home run, and he's going to send it back home to mom and dad.
Tell you what, he made a great play the other day at shortstop, a play up the middle.
He's been impressive in 2 games.
Astros have lost 6 consecutive games. Had lost 6 consecutive games. Still sitting atop the American League West. But they're trying to hold off the Texas Rangers right now. 2 balls, 1 strike to Howard, and Howard rips it towards second, caught out of the air, and they double up Maikel Franco. McGrone was in the right place at the right time. Ryan Howard hit that one right on the nose.
Well, you can see Franco takes the secondary lead, realizes that they have a shift on. No man's land.
Ryan's had a couple balls to that same spot in this series. Yesterday it was a 6-3 double play on the ground.
But yesterday the shortstop was on the short side, the shortstop side. Today he's on the second base side. What's the difference from yesterday and today?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
the pitcher, maybe the kind of pitcher. I don't know if that changes it. 1 ball, 1 strike to Francoeur. Francoeur is 1 for 3. And it's 1-2. Breaking ball from Hoover.
So if he hits that ball yesterday, that's going to the wall because it was crushed. It's for a double.
Outside, 2-2. Kenny Giles warming up in the pen. And Francoeur pulls it inside the bag down the left field line. He's going to get an extra base hit out of this one. And that's going to wind up being his 8th double of the season. And that double play looks so much bigger even now. So Francoeur is 2 for 4.
That's why it's so important as a runner. Down by 3, any line drive you have to just stay put. If it gets past the infielder and goes to the outfielder, fine, you go first to second. It's not important to get from first to third, especially when you're down by 3 runs.
Back to the screen. It's no balls and 1 strike. There is Michael. Yeah, once he took a step or two, he had no chance. Partly because that ball was hit so hard. So to Major League Scoreboard, the Blue Jays have won again. They have defeated the Marlins 7-2. Jays are now 3.5 games behind the Yankees in the division. They've now won 8 consecutive ball games. That one is fouled down the left field line. 2-2 to Cesar. Cesar's walked, he's singled, he scored a run in the 4th inning, grounded out to second base his last time up. And a call, strike 3. Down looking on what Hernandez thought was a low pitch. Phillies go down here in the 8th. They get a couple hits. They leave 1 in scoring position. Middle of the 8th inning, 5-2 Cincinnati. A while ago. He's going to give you his full analysis and breakdown of today's ballgame between the Phils and the Reds. Only on Cure Auto Insurance presents Phillies Postgame Live. Last of the 8th inning, Skip Schumacher will lead it off against Justin DeFreitas. McGrone is on deck. And then the pitcher's spot, J.J. Hoover is in that spot right now. Outside corner, and it's 0-1. Swing and a miss, change up. At least it looked like a change up. No balls and 2 strikes.
You are correct.
Huh. He throws it so rarely that it surprises me when he does.
It's actually a pretty good pitch for him. He used to be a 2-pitch pitcher, fastball slider, but now he mixes in that changeup to left-handers. I like it. Not so much the right-handers, but the lefties, yes.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Schumacher. And he fouls it off to the left and out of play toward the upper deck. There's Aroldis Chapman warming up. He tried it again. It's now 2 balls and 2 strikes to Schumacher. The Phillies are off tomorrow, and then on Friday, game 1 of a 3-game series against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Be on the air at 7 o'clock on Comcast Sportsnet. Pirates 4 games over 500. Sunday's matchup has Cole Hamels against A.J. Burnett in the series finale before the Phillies head to Baltimore. Two balls, 2 strikes to Schumacher, and he hits it foul. Over to Ryan Howard. Nice backhanded play. Sets himself before he takes it to the bag. And there's 1 out here in the 8th. And here comes Negron. Mike Leake has come out of the on-deck circle to pinch hit. Time now for our W.B. Mason delivery of the game. Well, Matt, this is the deciding blow right now in this ball game.
Yeah, well, the first inning, DeJesus gets up. It's a fastball inside against Jerome Williams. Hits the ball to left field, good enough to get out of there for a 3-run home run and make the lead 4-0. That was your W.B. Mason delivery of the game.
Second home run of the series for Ivan DeJesus. Second major league home run. Well, Negron is 1 for 3. Popped out, singled, and grounded out to second base. Fly ball to right field. Ball's carrying back toward the warning track in the corner, and Francoeur makes the catch for the second out. And here comes Mike Leake to pinch hit. Not a shock or a stretch that they would use Leake to pinch hit. He's got a reputation of being a good hitter for a pitcher. Quite honestly, Brian Price really doesn't have anybody else. He's got an injured Brandon Phillips. He's got an injured Billy Hamilton. His backup catcher, I guess he could use. Bosch is in the game because of the injury to Zach Cozart. And Leake takes strike 1. Mike Leake does have a home run this year. 5 overall in his career. 179 hitter this season. Hooks that one foul. It's 0-2.
No word on Cozart yet.
Still have not heard anything on Cozart. Next swing on a slider. Report that we had was that it was a knee injury that he had sustained, but that was it. And a fastball in there for a called strike 3. 4 up, 4 down for Justin DeFreitas. So he does his job out of the bullpen. He goes an inning and a third scoreless. All right, the Phillies with one last chance. Aroldis Chapman is coming on.
here in Cincinnati when this one is over. As Tom, you just mentioned, the Phils will head to Pittsburgh for a 3-game weekend set against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Here are the pitching matchups there. Kevin Correa will make his first start for the Phils after being signed this week. He'll take on the lefty Jeff Locke on Friday night. On Saturday at 4:05, it's Sean O'Sullivan taking on Garrett Cole, who's been terrific this year, 9-2 with an ERA under 2. And then Sunday at 1:35, Cole Hamels takes the ball for the Phillies, and he'll face former teammate A.J. Burnett. But Tom, this one is not over yet. And before I say anything else, I just want to say, Matt, I know you're leaving us. Good luck this weekend at the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame. As you get inducted, we'll be thinking about you on Saturday night.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. Have fun golfing tomorrow.
We will. We'll be thinking.
No speech yet, right?
No, I'm going to wing it right when I get on the stage. I'm going to start off by taking a selfie, though.
Yeah.
As soon as I get the coat from Fergie Jenkins.
Yep.
Turn around and do a selfie with the crowd.
With Fergie, too.
With Fergie.
Yep. Get everybody that you can, all the famous people there that you can, get them all together.
Oh, it's all about the fans.
All right, get all the fans you can and all the famous people that you can. And take a big old picture. See if you can, what was it, Ellen, who had that selfie at the Academy Awards?
I don't think
See if you can pass that one.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Come on. See if you can get Bradley Cooper involved in it, and then maybe you can get him. You can pass that one. You nervous at all about the speech?
Not a bit. I'm gonna have fun with it.
You gonna wear a tuxedo?
Huh?
You gonna wear a tuxedo?
No, I'm not even gonna wear a tie.
Really?
No. Maybe.
Think Bob Elliott's gonna wear a tie?
Yes.
Think Carlos Delgado's gonna wear a tie?
Yes. Koski, he texted me yesterday.
Is he wearing a tie?
He just bought a new one. He says, "Man, these things are expensive."
Ties?
Yeah.
You got to shop around. A ball and 1 strike to Cameron Rupp as we begin the 9th inning. And he pops it up. Joey Votto on the edge of the outfield grass crosses over into foul territory. Makes the catch for the first out here in the 9th inning. And Andres Blanco will pinch hit. You know, just make some notes. You got to thank some people. You don't want to forget anybody.
Oh no, I'll thank everybody. Plan on having the whole family stand up. Thank them. I got to get it done before my daughter starts to cry.
Right.
I don't want the mascara. I don't want the mascara to run and
get your family, rightfully so, out of the way first, so you don't forget anybody. High, 1 ball, no strikes.
Tell a story about each person going in the class of 2015. I've known them all for 25 years.
Make sure it's clean. You don't know what the age range of kids
are. We are in Canada.
Okay. 1 ball and 1 strike.
PG-13. They have a country concert going on. Golf tournament. Should be fun. Could be a fun weekend.
One and 2 now to Blanco. Blanco with 6 extra base hits as a pinch hitter. Blanco is down on strikes. And now 2 outs. Phillies are down to their final out. Ben Revere is coming up. And Revere has 2 hits today. He takes a strike. It's 0-1. 99 on that fastball from Chapman. Foul tip. Well, the fans coming to their feet. Phillies came in hoping for a chance to win the series against the Reds. The 0-2 pitch fouled away. It remains 0-2. Now they're on the verge of being swept out by Cincinnati, and the Reds will win the season series. Oh-2. Chapman is ready. And that's way upstairs. He overthrew a 101-mile-an-hour fastball, if you can do that.
This is topped out at what, 105 before? Is that the hardest pitch ever? 105?
I believe so. We saw him at 102 last week in Philadelphia. And Revere punches it out toward left. Schumacher's there, makes the catch, and the ball game is over. The Reds have swept out the Phillies this week. They've won all 3 games today. They were able to close it out here in the 9th inning. Brian Pena gave the Reds an insurance run late, gave them a run early, and he is